Okay, so you're prepping for an interpretation agency manager interview and want to, knock it out of the park. We've got you
Mhm.
covered. This deep dive uses RoleCatcher's career and interview guides, plus their AI insights to give you that extra edge.
I think you're going to find this really
Well,
interesting.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Definitely. We're going to be tackling common questions, sprinkling in some career tips, and showing you how RoleCatcher personalizes your prep.
All right, let's get started.
Let's dive in.
It's fascinating how this role, this interpretation agency manager, it goes beyond just language, right? You're basically bridging cultures and you're making sure that communication is clear and accurate in a world that is like, increasingly globalized.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a fantastic point to bring up right at the beginning. That kind of insight is going to resonate with interviewers when they ask you, like that first question, that why question, what excites you about this career path? It's your chance to connect with the role personally, right?
Absolutely. You really want to think about what sparks your interest. Is it the power of connecting people across languages? Is it the impact of accurate interpretation? Or maybe you have a personal experience that really ignited your passion for this field.
Yeah.
Authenticity is key here.
Yes, exactly. A genuine answer will always stand out. Now, let's move on to a question that we see quite often. What experience do you have managing a team? And I think a lot of people, they just list job titles.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you want to do more than that.
Right.
You want to highlight situations that demonstrate your leadership style. So, did you mentor a struggling interpreter? Did you resolve a team conflict smoothly? Or maybe successfully manage a complex project?
Share those stories. And this is where, using the STAR method can be really helpful.
Yeah.
So remember, that's situation, task, action, and result. It helps you structure your answers in a really clear and concise way.
And you know what? RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you with this. Yeah, because what it does is it analyzes your answers and it provides feedback on how well you're using the STAR method,
Uh-huh.
which is pretty great because it ensures that you're actually presenting those experiences in a way that resonates with interviewers.
Now that's smart prep.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift to a question that goes to the heart of this role. How do you ensure quality and accuracy in interpretation services?
Okay, this is your time to shine. You can discuss industry standards like ISO 17100, which outlines requirements for translation services. Explain your quality control processes, how you evaluate interpreters, and the importance of, continuous training.
Now, thinking back to the RoleCatcher Career Guide, what kind of high-pressure scenarios might an agency manager face that could, impact quality?
You're going to have things like tight deadlines for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sensitive subject matter, or even technical glitches, especially during those remote interpretations.
Yeah.
You could mention strategies for handling those situations, like having backup interpreters or clear communication protocols.
Having those backup plans in place is super important. Okay, so next up, how do you manage multiple projects and competing priorities?
Okay, this is where you're going to want to showcase your organizational prowess, right? Do you use project management software? Do you have a specific prioritization technique? Or do you use a combination of tools?
Yeah.
Share your system. But also, don't forget to emphasize that you're flexible and you can adapt to changing demands.
And I think, this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful
Oh, for sure.
because it can help prioritize tasks based on specific job descriptions, which ensures that you're focusing on the skills that matter most to potential employers.
Absolutely. And speaking of essential skills, interviewers are going to be interested in your communication style. So they might ask you, how do you ensure effective communication with clients and stakeholders?
Yeah, I mean, this goes beyond just talking, right?
Yeah.
You have to be able to clearly convey information, actively listen to concerns, and, tailor your approach for different audiences.
Exactly. And it's all about building strong relationships.
Yes.
So think about those, challenging client interactions. How would you handle a demanding client? Or what happens if there's a miscommunication? You could mention strategies like establishing clear communication protocols or, utilizing feedback mechanisms.
Yes, demonstrating your ability to navigate those tough situations is key. Now, let's talk about staying ahead of the curve. How would you answer this question? How do you stay up to date with industry trends and best practices?
Be specific. Mention conferences you've attended, like the annual ATA conference, publications you follow, such as, the ATA Chronicle, professional organizations you're part of, or even online forums that you engage in.
Oh, and did you know that RoleCatcher actually has a massive library of resources?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it links to external sites and articles, so it's a one-stop shop for staying in the know, basically, in this industry.
That's amazing. Continuous learning is crucial in this field. Another question you might encounter is, how do you handle conflict or difficult situations with team members or clients?
Because conflict is inevitable in any workplace.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
It's how you handle it that matters.
Exactly. So, share a real example using the STAR method. How did you use active listening and empathy and finding common ground to reach a resolution?
Yeah.
Did you have to mediate a disagreement between interpreters? Did you address a client complaint? Or maybe navigate a challenging project situation?
Right, and that's a great way to showcase your conflict resolution skills. And it ties back to those typical interactions that the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentions. Dealing with stress and those tricky interpersonal situations, it's all part of the job.
And it's something that RoleCatcher can actually help you prepare for. Their AI analyzes your responses to these types of questions and provides personalized feedback and tips on how to best showcase those skills and experience in handling conflict.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, now let's dive into a topic that's super important. How do you ensure that interpretation services are culturally appropriate and sensitive? And it's more than just avoiding offensive language, right?
Right. You have to understand those nuances of different cultures and how they impact communication. So you could discuss strategies for recruiting interpreters from diverse backgrounds, ensuring they're equipped to handle culturally sensitive situations.
Yeah, and this ties back to, one of the biggest perks of the job, I think, is working with diverse cultures. It's a chance to, celebrate that diversity within your agency and make sure everyone feels respected and understood.
Absolutely. And remember, when you're discussing your experience with cultural sensitivity, use concrete examples and that STAR method again.
Yes.
It'll make your answers much more impactful. And, RoleCatcher's AI can analyze those responses too and
Right.
offer feedback on how to best highlight your expertise in this area.
Great. Now let's talk about the different types of interpretation they might ask you. What experience do you have working with consecutive, simultaneous, and remote interpretation?
Okay, so be ready to showcase your versatility here, right? Consecutive interpretation involves the interpreter speaking after the speaker finishes a thought.
Gotcha.
Simultaneous happens in real time, right? So it's happening at the same time. And then remote interpretation, often done, via video conferencing, that's becoming increasingly popular. Share your experience with each mode and any challenges you've overcome.
Yeah, the Career Guide actually highlighted the impact of technology, and it's really fascinating how video conferencing is changing the game, right? It opens up all these possibilities for remote work, but it also presents, new challenges for managing interpreters and ensuring quality.
Exactly. And it's something you can directly address in your interview. Highlight your awareness of these trends and your willingness to embrace new technologies. It shows that you're adaptable and that you're ready to lead in a changing industry. Now, let's tackle compliance. How do you ensure compliance with industry standards and regulations for interpretation services? This is about showcasing your knowledge of the legal and ethical landscape.
Yeah, you need to demonstrate that you understand those regulations and can make sure that your agency operates within those boundaries. And it's not just about avoiding penalties, it's about upholding professional standards.
Exactly. You can discuss your approach to staying informed, implementing compliance procedures, and ensuring all interpreters know their ethical responsibilities. You could mention specific certifications or training programs that you've, implemented to stay compliant.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's Career Stage Breakdown can help you tailor your answers to the specific level you're interviewing for.
Absolutely. Whether you're going for a senior management role or a more junior position, you can highlight those relevant experiences and demonstrate that you understand the responsibilities associated with that level.
Okay, wow, we covered a lot of ground here. We tackled some key interview questions, sprinkled in some career insights from RoleCatcher's resources, and even showed you how their AI can help you personalize your prep.
We have, but you know what? We've only just begun.
Yeah.
In part 2, we're going to dive into those tricky hypothetical scenarios that interviewers love to throw your way.
Oh, those are always fun.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into interpretation agency manager interviews.
In part 1, we covered those crucial first impressions and how to showcase your leadership skills, your expertise, and that commitment to quality.
Yeah, it's important to make a good first impression.
For sure.
Now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to explore some hypothetical scenario
Okay.
and some challenges that you might encounter as an agency manager.
Yeah, because those are always fun.
Interviewers, they want to see that you can handle those real-world complexities.
Oh, for sure. They want to throw you a curveball and see how you can handle it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's put you in the hot seat.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Imagine you're coordinating a major international conference, and suddenly one of your interpreters falls ill.
Oh, no.
You have a limited pool of qualified interpreters available, and the clock is ticking.
Oh, the pressure's on.
Yeah.
What do you do? What's your plan?
Okay, so this is where those problem-solving skills really come into play.
Okay.
The first thing you're going to do is assess the situation.
Okay.
How crucial is this interpreter's role? Can you even find a replacement with the same language combination and expertise in time?
Right, because you don't want to just grab anybody.
No, not at all.
They have to be qualified.
Absolutely.
And then, how do you communicate this whole, unexpected hiccup to the client? And, you want to be transparent, but also reassuring.
You said it. It's about staying calm under pressure, thinking on your feet, and prioritizing.
Oh, yeah.
Could you maybe tap into your network of freelance interpreters? Could you explore remote interpretation options? Maybe you even have to adjust the conference schedule a little bit if it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Right, and I think this scenario highlights the importance of having those backup plans, right?
Yes.
And just building a strong network of interpreters that you can really rely on.
Absolutely. Those proactive steps are going to save the day.
Totally. Now, let's switch gears to a different kind of challenge. How would you handle a client who's unhappy with an interpreter's performance, even though you believe that interpreter acted professionally and accurately?
Okay, so this is tricky.
Yeah.
This is where your communication and your diplomacy skills really shine.
Yeah.
You're going to listen attentively to the client's concerns, acknowledge their perspective, and try to understand the root of their dissatisfaction.
But without throwing the interpreter under the bus.
You got it.
It's like such a fine line you have to walk there.
It is a balancing act.
Advocating for your team, but also making sure the client's happy.
Yeah, you could maybe explain the interpreter's qualifications, review the interpretation with the client, address specific concerns, or offer solutions like assigning a different interpreter for future projects.
Right. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this, I think, ties back to those typical interactions we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
Like dealing with difficult clients, it's part of the job.
It is.
But you want to show them that you can navigate those conversations gracefully and professionally.
Yes, exactly.
Ready for another hypothetical?
Hit me with it.
All right, imagine you're faced with a budget constraint, and you need to make some tough decisions about staffing and resources.
Okay, so this is something that every agency manager has to deal with at some point.
Oh, I'm sure.
How would you prioritize your spending to make sure the agency operates effectively, but at the same time maintains service quality?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That really puts your business management skills to the test.
It does.
I think I would start by, analyzing the agency's financials and figuring out where costs could be reduced without sacrificing that quality.
Yeah.
Maybe streamlining some administrative processes, negotiating better rates with vendors, or exploring alternative staffing models.
Yeah, those are great ideas.
And I also think it's important to, involve your team in the process, right?
Absolutely.
Like explain the situation, get their input on potential solutions, and be open to their ideas.
You want to be collaborative.
Right. And that also shows that you value their insights.
Yes.
And you're promoting that collaborative work environment.
Exactly. It's not just you dictating from the top. You're involving everyone in the decision-making process.
Right.
Now, let's talk a little bit about technology.
Okay.
The interpretation industry, it's rapidly evolving, and interviewers might ask, how do you stay informed about these emerging technologies, and how do you incorporate them into your agency?
So staying informed is key, right?
Yeah.
Attending those industry conferences, reading publications, connecting with other professionals online, and, even exploring platforms like RoleCatcher for all those latest trends and insights.
Right. And it's not just about, knowing what's out there. It's about evaluating which technologies will actually benefit your agency.
Yeah, what's actually going to be useful, right?
Absolutely. And then developing a plan to implement them.
Yeah.
So could a new video conferencing platform enhance your remote interpretation capabilities? Would a new translation management system streamline your workflow and, boost efficiency?
Right. Those are that kind of questions you have to ask.
Yes, those are strategic decisions.
And it shows that you're forward thinking.
Absolutely, that you're not afraid to adapt and evolve with the industry.
Yeah, that's really important.
Now, let's revisit something we touched upon a bit earlier, championing diversity and inclusion.
Okay.
This goes beyond just hiring interpreters from different backgrounds. It's about how you create a workplace culture that values and celebrates diversity.
It's about making everyone feel welcome, respected, and empowered to share their unique perspectives.
You said it.
That might involve, like, diversity and inclusion training, clear policies against discrimination, and promoting open dialogue about cultural differences.
Absolutely.
So it's really like creating that safe space for everyone to be themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And think about your recruitment efforts.
Oh, yeah.
Are you actively reaching out to diverse candidates, attending diversity job fairs? Are you making sure your job postings are inclusive and welcoming?
Those are all crucial steps, but it doesn't stop there.
No, it isn't. You also need to foster a sense of belonging.
Okay.
So create opportunities for interpreters to share their cultural experiences, their knowledge, celebrate those cultural holidays, and make sure everyone's voice is heard in that decision-making process.
It sounds like it's an ongoing process, right? Like learning, adapting, and creating that truly inclusive environment.
It definitely is. And these hypothetical scenarios, they're really great for testing those problem-solving skills.
Oh, for sure.
And they highlight those leadership qualities.
Right.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can be a really valuable resource throughout your preparation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've talked about that a little bit.
It can analyze those job descriptions, it can give you feedback on your answers, and it can even help you practice for those challenging behavioral interview questions.
It's like having a personalized career coach right in your pocket.
It is.
But remember, the AI is just a tool.
Yeah.
It can't replace your own preparation.
No, absolutely not. You still need to do your own research and, be self-aware.
Right, you have to bring your own knowledge to the table.
Exactly.
So as you gear up for that interview, reflect on your strengths and your weaknesses, and think about how your skills and values align with the role.
Right.
And be prepared to share concrete examples of how you've actually demonstrated those qualities in the past.
That's important.
Now, in part 3, we're going to explore how to turn all of these insights into a winning strategy. We'll cover tips on crafting those compelling stories, showcasing your personality, and leaving a lasting impression on the interviewers.
You want to stand out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So stay tuned. We'll be back with the final installment of our Interpretation Agency Manager Interview Prep Guide.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. In parts 1 and 2, we covered a ton of ground, from nailing those tricky interview questions to navigating those hypothetical scenarios.
Yeah, we really did.
To, championing diversity.
Oh, it was a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of information.
It was, but it was good. It was good stuff.
It was good stuff.
Now, in this final part,
Okay.
we're going to focus on turning all that knowledge into a winning interview strategy.
Yeah, how do you put it all together?
Yeah. It's time to polish your presentation.
Yeah.
Infuse your answers with personality and leave those interviewers thinking like, wow, we need this person on our team.
Yeah, you want to make them want you.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Because a great interview is about more than just like reciting facts, right?
It's not a test.
No, it's about connecting with the interviewers, showcasing your passion, and letting your personality shine through.
Yeah, they want to see who you are.
So let's start with storytelling.
Okay, a good place to start.
Yeah, because one of the most effective ways to make your answers memorable is to actually weave in stories from your past experiences.
Oh, yeah, that's a good tip.
So think about times when you faced a challenge, overcame an obstacle, or achieved, a significant success.
Those are the stories they want to hear.
Yeah, those are the juicy ones, right?
Mm.
Because stories really bring your answers to life. Like, for example, instead of just saying, like, oh, I'm a strong communicator.
Right, which everyone says.
Right, everybody says that. Share a story about a time you had to deliver difficult feedback to an interpreter, or maybe how you successfully negotiated, a complex contract with a client.
Those are great examples.
And when you're crafting your stories, remember the STAR method.
Situation, task, action, result.
Situation, task, action, result. Clearly describe the situation, outline your responsibility, explain the actions you took, and highlight those positive results.
It gives them a framework to follow.
Right. It keeps your stories concise and impactful.
Yeah, you don't want to ramble.
No, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Here's a pro tip, though. Practice telling your stories out loud beforehand.
That's a good one.
It'll help you refine your delivery, find the right pacing, and just ensure they flow naturally during the interview.
Yeah, you don't want to sound like you're reading from a script.
Nobody wants to hear a robot.
Now, let's talk a little bit about personality.
Okay.
It's important to be professional, of course, but don't be afraid to let your personality shine through.
Yes. Show them your enthusiasm, your sense of humor.
Right. They want to see you're a real person.
Yeah, and your passion for the field.
Absolutely, because they're not just hiring a skill set, they're hiring a person.
Right.
Someone who's going to fit in with their team and represent their agency.
Yeah, they want to know that you're going to be a good cultural fit. Think about those pros we discussed earlier. Working with diverse cultures, facilitating clear communication, making a real impact.
Yeah, let that excitement come through.
Let that passion show.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate nonverbal communication.
That's so important.
Oh, it's huge. Smile, make eye contact, and use open body language to project that confidence and approachability.
You want to look and sound confident?
Yeah, nobody wants to hire somebody who's shrinking in their chair.
Now, let's talk about those tricky questions about your weaknesses.
Nobody likes those.
But everyone has weaknesses.
Oh, yeah.
And interviewers want to see that you're self-aware and that you're committed to growth.
Right. They want to see that you're willing to learn and grow.
Exactly.
So avoid generic responses like, I'm a perfectionist.
Oh, yeah. Or I work too hard.
Right. Everyone says that.
Instead, choose a weakness that's actually relevant to the role.
Okay.
And demonstrate how you're actively working to overcome it.
Yeah. Show them that you're proactive. For instance, if you tend to get bogged down in details.
Happens to the best of us.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
You could mention that you're developing strategies for, delegating tasks more effectively and focusing on the bigger picture.
Yeah, or if you're not comfortable with the public speaking.
Oh, that's a common one.
It is. You could talk about taking a course or joining Toastmasters to improve your confidence.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
The key is to turn that weakness into an opportunity for growth and show that you're proactive and continuously improving.
You want to spin it in a positive light.
Now, don't forget to ask thoughtful questions at the end of the interview.
This is so important.
Oh, it's huge. It shows that you're engaged and genuinely interested.
Right. It shows you've been listening.
So prepare a few questions beforehand, but be ready to ask follow-up questions based on what you learned during the interview.
You want to be present in the moment.
Yeah, it's a conversation.
There is?
You could ask about the agency's culture, their vision for the future, or maybe specific challenges and opportunities associated with the role.
Those are all good questions.
Remember, an interview is a two-way street.
It's not just them grilling you.
No, it's a chance for you to learn about them as well.
And finally, let's talk about that closing statement.
Ooh, yeah, the grand finale.
Yeah, this is your last chance to really leave a positive impression.
Make it count.
Yeah.
So summarize those key qualifications, express appreciation for their time, and reaffirm your belief that you'd be a valuable asset to their team.
You want to leave them wanting more.
Exactly. And end on a positive note.
Always end on a high note.
Mention something specific you learned during the interview that, really excited you, or reiterate your passion for the field.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
For example, you could say, I was particularly intrigued by your focus on incorporating new technologies into your services.
That's a good one.
I'm eager to contribute my skills and experience to help your agency continue to innovate and grow.
That's really strong.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into interpretation agency manager interviews, remember, preparation is key.
It all comes down to preparation.
RoleCatcher's resources and those AI-powered feedback tools are invaluable.
Oh, yeah, they can really help you.
For tailoring your answers, practicing your delivery, and just, gaining that competitive edge.
It gives you an advantage.
But ultimately, it's your passion, your knowledge, and your genuine self that will shine through.
That's what they're really looking for.
So go out there, be confident, and make that impact. Good luck.
You got this.
That's it for this deep dive into interpretation agency manager interviews. We hope you found this information helpful.
Yeah, good luck with your job search.
Best of luck with your job search.